Let's go. Look, we're back at it one more time. And today I'm telling you, I determine my value. Do you determine your value? That's a big question. Look, I determine my value. And I want you to understand that you determine your value as well. And we're going to jump into this thing heavy and strong. But before we unload, unpack, unlock, and unveil every attribute and ability that you possess for success, I'm going to give you my piece of the pie, my perspective, my insight, and imagination. So the first thing I want to do is jump into a definition of what value is. So when we talk about value, naturally it's associated with some monetary worth. So definition is what is like, hey man, how much do you value that? How much do you value that? That's naturally what's at play. You know, the value that we have on a product or a service and things in that magnitude. So this is what I want to do today. I want to stretch your thought process on this just a little bit so we can take you to the next level, so we can impact you to see your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations face to face. Let's go. So check this out. Value has quite a few different components, okay? It has quite a few different components. And when I talk about value, I talk about value in this 28 Power Keys to Success. And I want you to get this book. I want you to go into the description, click the link, get your book. You don't do it now. We want you to listen to this information. But check this out. Value in this book has so many different components. We're talking about, I had, I think, about 5 definitions for it. When I was looking at this, I was like, man, like value is kind of intricate. Like there's quite a few different ways to look at value. And I'm gonna give you my piece of the pie, but I'm also going to give you some of these definitions. So first of all, let's take a look at the second definition that I have up right here. And then I'll read out some from the book. Value is a fair return or equivalent in goods, services, or money for something exchanged. And that's one that kind of relates with everyone. That's one that we're always kind of associated with because it covers almost everything that we're talking about. We talk about goods. We talk about our products and things that we have. We talk about services, how we conduct ourselves and what we offer someone in action. And then we talk about money, right? We talk about how much it's going to cost for that product, how much it's going to cost for those services, and the proper exchanges in that capacity. So about this, there's some other definitions, and I'm gonna read a couple out the book. It says relative worth, utility, and importance. Relative worth, utility, and importance. Now, what does that even mean? Like, what is it? What does relative worth mean? Like in comparison to what was put out, like how much that actually value. And look, I think this could be very controversial if we go down the wrong route. So I want us to look at this in a really effective and positive light. So when we talk about value, we're talking about utility, the way we utilize, that's utility, utilizing something. How what is the value in the utility? What's the usage? How can what I have, what you have, and how can I use it? And how effective is it in my life? And that's how much value we put it on. So that's another component, right? And then we also have value economically, which we talk about the dollar bill, we talk about the currencies, whether it's euro, you know, whatever it is. We talk about currency and the value as money. And that economic value is something that we talk about on a consistent basis. And it's something that actually creates a flow system in the world, right? And then we also talk about value and is by importance, right? So people got value by importance, and people got they got their status, they got their classifications, they have their titles and things of that magnitude, and it just creates a level of value and honor that people provide individuals based on those values. We also have internal values, right? We have internal values that we carry within ourselves. Those are personal values, how we conduct ourselves, the standards and things like that that we hold ourselves to. Those are internal values. And there's social values that we do the same thing with. But when I talk about value in the 28 Power Keys to Success, I talk about how much you determine your own value, right? Whatever you're exchanging, you determine that value. Nobody get to set the value for you. And oftentimes we allow people to set the value for us. So let's just take a look at the regular workforce. People set the values for us. How many of you actually have sat down and negotiated your pay? Right? How many of you have negotiated your pay? Say, hey, listen, for what I'm going to be providing, my services, I think is going to be worth more than this. And the benefit that you're going to reap from this exchange is far beyond what you're willing to pay. So I think that you can definitely fork over a little bit more money, right? And just being a great negotiator, I understand how much is made within this market, not only just in this market, but within this position and field. And so I need my pay to reflect the pay, at least at the very minimum. And then because I have this education or because I have this experience, I think an additional $5,000 a year would be adequate, right? We have to really be able to leverage what we possess and who we are whenever we're sitting down at a job. Like I enjoy having my own business because look, I can value myself at the level that I know. And so when I have a conversation, like when I raise my hand and tell people, hey, look, I can get paid $5,000, $10,000 for a speaking engagement, individuals be like, what? That's how I value my time. That's how I value the information that comes across the stage. That's how I value those exchanges. That's how I value the impact that's going to be made on that individual, or how I value the impact that's going to be made on that community, or how I value the impact that's going to be made on that organization. And you have to understand how much you value you, because the way you value you is the same way others will value you and less. You see what I'm saying? Unless. Not always. There's some people that's going to hold you in high regard and be like, hey, whatever you need. But there's individuals like on a consistent basis, everybody's looking for the minimum to put out, the minimum put out when they're talking about exchanges. So you see people talking about, hey, I got a value deal because there was like a price cut. That's not value, man. Like, a lot of people will be like, oh, we add value. I add value based on my services, my utility, the ability for you to utilize my information and the things that I provide you, whether it's in a workshop, whether it's across a stage, whether it's a product, and I determine what things cost. So you see some clothes out there, some apparel that costs thousands of dollars, and it's a t-shirt, right? Hundreds of dollars for a pair of shoes. You see like thousands of dollars for a dress, and you can go get another dress that costs $50. So I just look at this and I'm like, man, what is the consistency? Like, it's not even the balance in the market when you talk about these things. And why isn't there a balance in the market when you talk about this? Because value is yours. It's yours. This is something that we as a people developed. We develop systems of value. We really develop systems of value. Now, when I talk about my internal value, there's something there. I hold on to different values, and our value come from learn and how we grow up and all this other stuff, stories and ideas and perspective and stuff like that. That's where values come from internally. But when I talk about monetary value, there is really absolutely zero guidelines on determining monetary value for a product, service, you see, or you. So when I talk about this, I want you to lean in real hard and listen to what I got to say. So first of all, I determine my value, right? I determine my value. And the reason why I determine my value is because of this. I determine my value because I am the one that sets the price. That's just how it works. I am the one that sets the price. I determine whether or not this is good enough for me. I determine that. And you have to determine whether or not this is good enough for you. And let me give you a few examples of how we actually cultivated the system or this concept. Like, so, back in the day, there was no real concept of money. There was more so, animals and skins and things like that. And so there was a barter and trading system. Like we were trading things for other things, and whatever value we placed on that, that's what we got to trade for. So somebody might have started off the trade and said, "Hey, for 20 ducks, I'll give you one cow," or whatever the case may be, and that was the standard in that time or in that area or community. And then somebody was like, "Man, you know what? 20 ducks isn't enough for my cows. I need 40 ducks for my cow." And so, because this individual valued their product differently, they they was like, whenever there's an exchange with me, this is what I'm gonna get. And so there are different components, right? Because if I have a larger cow, I probably should receive more more ducks. You see what I'm saying? Like there are different components that we use, and so we use logic to determine different values. Now that system didn't work too well. Like logically, there's some illogical things that transpired in the course of history, and when people were literally doing some trading. And look, we all know, hands down, there's some controversial subjects. We don't have to touch them. We just understand that, right? But the thing is, they went from barter and trading, right, and then they went to like these certificates, right? We went to certificates and IOUs and things like that. And then we had coins. We had the coins and different stones and all that other stuff. So everything, we was just trading. And there was markets where people go to and trade for what they needed. And there was a lot of trading that was going on. So what we're doing right now is trading. We're making exchanges. And even now we see currency change, right? We see currencies changing. We go from a penny to a nickel, from a nickel to a dime, from a dime to a quarter, from a quarter to a 50-cent piece, from a 50-cent piece to a dollar. Then we got a dollar, we got $5, we got $10, we got you see what I'm saying? $20, $50, $100. We have all these different things, and then after all of that happened, we was like, well, how do we house it? And we got all these different certificates. We got bonds. We got plots of land. So we was like, hey, we need to write certificates for that. And we was like, okay, we can exchange these for those. And so there was a lot of exchanging to take place, but it was determined based on what we wanted to sell it for, right? What we wanted to exchange for and what it meant to us. And that's the same thing for you. Even if you look at where we are today, right? We have checks. We have credit cards, man. Now we're exchanging air for nothing. You see what I'm saying? Like we really got it down packed now, man. We really got it down packed where we're really like exchanging nothing for something. Like, hey, I just swiped my card, man. It maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. If it do, cool. If it don't, what can I do about it? Anyway, you know what I'm saying, like we exchange like anymore. We're able to exchange digital coins, right? You got one digital coin worth thousands of dollars. So if you own thousands of these digital coins, you're a millionaire. You see what I'm saying? Like, so there's a and this individual made the coin. They made it. They developed it themselves with technology and became millionaires. So this is why I tell you, you have to value you. I determine my own value. Nobody can tell me how much I charge for my speaking engagements. I determine that. Nobody can tell me how much I charge for my products. I determine that. Nobody can tell me how much I charge for my workshops and my services. I determine that because I'm the one that have the value. And then other individuals, based on what I have, can say, you know what, I value you as you value you. Or they can value me greater, right? Or I can be like, hey, I value what I have, but your situation is I want to help and I can bring the value down. Like you have that level of determination on your value. Nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, can tell you how much you're valued. And so we've mixed this thing up where we've allowed a lot of these organizations to value us at a rate that is way far below our value, even our attributes and abilities that we're bringing to the table. And it's a normal, consistent thing. And it's prevalent throughout all of the world, right? It's prevalent throughout all of the world. Think about minimum wages and stuff like that. I've seen minimum wages and they've been $7 for decades. $7 for decades. You see what I'm saying? I remember one of my first jobs, I was getting paid $5.25, and I thought I was getting money. And I bought me a Cadillac off of that thing. You know what I'm saying? So you think about this, however we decide to exchange our time, however we decide to exchange not only our time, but our products, our services, however we value ourselves, that's what people gonna lean in. And sometimes you have to hold out to get what you really what you're really worth. You know what I'm saying? What your product is worth. You know, nobody can actually buy you. Like, even though there's been some controversial times in history, nobody can actually buy you. You're not purchasable. like like you're so valuable, right? That you're not purchasable. Nobody can purchase you. Regardless of how they say and how they move and how they operate, nobody can buy you, right? And that's one of the things that we carry with ourselves. We can add value to any situation and circumstance, and you have the capacity to say, "Hey, listen, this is what I have. This is what it costs," and you can determine that. And now, trust me, like based on the resources of individuals around you, this is why people have market analysis. This is why individuals utilize, information and data to be able to assess how much they're going to charge the general region, because individuals might not be able to afford you. You see what I'm saying? And so maybe sometimes we have to make adjustments so individuals can get the information, but it's important for us to understand we get to determine the value of who we are, what we do, why we exchange the way we exchange. My book is set at a rate because I decided that. And it's not because it's a norm. We've seen books that are $50, right? We've seen books that are $10. We've seen books that are 99 cents. But it's based on what you decide that you want to value. Hey, look, I value the information in this book, so I want to make sure it's accessible to anybody. It's economically priced, so people can actually purchase this book and use the information to grow, right? What's my intent behind my value exchange, right? If I'm hungry, I'm not. I'm gonna go spend the money I need to eat, right? I'm not just gonna sit here and just be like, I'm just gonna starve. Either I'm gonna go spend the money I need to eat and pay the value for that burger, or pay the value for the burger meat, right? Or I'm gonna just starve. What am I gonna do? What am I going to do? The value, we get to create the value. And this is why value is so important. I think we really got to dial into it. I think we really got to dial into it. And when we look at ourselves and have this self-assessment, we got to be like, man, that's it. That's it. That's exactly what it is. Look, another definition is a numerical quantity that is assigned or is determined by calculation or measurement. So that's the one where we're talking about market analysis and data collection and making assessments based on that information, right? Because I'm calculating things and I'm measuring things based on this environment and how much money is made, and based on, you see what I'm saying? And they do this on a granular level, and they do it on a large scale level as well. Because why? Why? Because this is the best way to capture the largest. Like, this is the best way to capture the school of fish, right? Versus one offs, and that's really important to be able to assess in that capacity. And so, and then this one is funny, and this is one that I allude to all the time, talking about relative light, relative lightness or darkness of a color. That's value. The value is the relative lightness or darkness of a color. A lot of people base who we are and what we are and what we do based on our color. And it's crazy because you got the color spectrum, but the spectrum is one spectrum. I talk about this, and it's a really controversial topic because everybody talk about race, but there's only one race. It's the human race. And so what we've done, and another word that I'm not really like, the word human is human. That means the colors of men. And then we turned that into a race. The colors of men in a race. Ain't that something? And so when we look at this and we like, oh man, that's just childish. That's ridiculous. We can actually be like, hey, okay, now I can truly assess the value that I have and operate at a level of integrity and efficiency and effectiveness and allow each and every individual to be able to process things in a manner where it impacts their lives, the lives of the individuals around them, in a manner that propels things forward. And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. And that's the idea behind value. That's the idea behind value. Is to understand how you utilize your value to propel things forward, whether it's yourself, whether it's your family, your community, your city, your state, your nation, or the world. We use this value to propel things forward. It's called an investment at times, right? Sometimes we give it up for free to see the benefits or the results or the desired outcomes in areas that may have a disparity in being able to obtain those services or goods, you know, or the value that you have, because it's not there. Because it's not there. So look, big thing. Remember, we're the ones who came up with this concept. We developed this concept and we started exchanging on this concept, meaning that you get to determine what value you have, right? I get to determine my value. I get to determine the value on the things that I exchange. I get to determine that. And if I go into somebody else's house, or if I go into somebody else's business, they get to determine that as well. If I do that on somebody else's job, they get to determine that. And I get to deny it or agree with it. You go to a pawn shop, you bought a gun at a pawn shop. You had a gun. It was when you first bought it brand new, it was really expensive. You go to the pawn shop, they want to give you 15% of the cost, right? You're in their house. You're in the house. But if somebody came to your house and say, I would like to buy that gun, you can sell it for whatever you want to. You see what I'm saying? Or you can bargain with it. It's up to you. You own that. This is your house. You own it. You own it. And you got to make sure you utilize it in the most effective way. You see what I'm saying? Hey, look, this is 28 Power Keys to Success. It's impacting lives all around the world. Make sure you get your copy. Click the link in the description and get your copy today. And guess what? I'll see you